Welcome to the back to the podcast, the AWFL Awfully Good podcast with Rich and Mike. How you doing today, Mike?
Fucking wonderful.
Sounds like it. You sound amazing. You feeling better? I know you were sick the past couple of weeks. It seems like.
I've been sick probably for over almost a week now. I slept for 14 hours last night, and that was kind of wonderful.
Did it help?
I don't know. I sleep for 14 hours on my days off anyways, but
Okay, it's just a normal day for you then.
yeah.
So what are we talking about today? The playoffs? Is that what we got on the agenda?
Well, we got the playoff predictions, and I don't know if you want to take a look back quick at the season. Anything of note that surprised or whatever?
Yeah. We can do that. The one big surprise I think was the Eagles being so low. Really expected the Eagles to clinch early, and they didn't even make the playoffs. That was
that was a surprise to a lot of people, not to me. I knew I was going to win the division the whole year, obviously.
Well, you knew you'd beat the Eagles twice, but you didn't. Thought you'd win.
Well, that's because Public's never beaten me. I mean, I just feel like I should say that over and over again. Public's never actually beaten me in a game. For anybody that didn't know,
I've never beat Public in a game,
which means obviously that I'm better than you,
right? So. Even though I beat you this season.
Well, that was just because of Madden.
Teams, right? You got Madden in that game. So
beyond Public, though, there were a few teams I would say, like the Rams and the Vikings, that they came on strong in the second half, but the way they started out surprised me.
Yeah. I thought both teams would compete. In fact, we both had the Rams in the playoffs, and maybe the Vikings too at the beginning of the season.
I believe I had the Rams in the Super Bowl.
I think you did. Yeah, you did have the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Way to go, Weapon X. Way to go.
But I guess also in his defense, two teams in his division made the playoffs. He has the number 2 seed with the Seahawks, and the Cardinals made the playoffs.
So I guess we were good on the NFC West prediction, just not the right team. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing out words. I'm tired. Leave me alone.
That does not make sense at all. We both neither of us thought the Seahawks would have this good of a season. I'm kind of surprised. It's almost annoying that as bad as that O-line was to start the season, he still has this running back who gets Rookie of the Year and Pro Bowl, whatever.
Do we have to talk about this right now? I don't want to talk about that.
No, I'm just saying it annoys me that O-line should matter more.
I don't want to talk about any other running backs in the league right now because I don't have mine.
But do you need him?
I miss him very much. Yes, I do need him.
Is he not back for the playoffs?
No, he's not. He comes back in 5 weeks from now, which, if you can do the math, is kind of late.
Terrible.
Any other surprises?
Not really. I mean, I thought the Titans would have won more than one game.
That was the computer, by the way, that won that game.
Was it really? It was a sim?
Yep. No, it was Perry playing against the computer and losing.
Oh, I see.
Because apparently that's what we do now.
Wow. He was trying to get that number 1 pick is what it was with Perry. He was trying to give the Titans a win so he can sneak into that number 1 draft pick spot.
Oh, that's a theory.
I don't really think that's what he was doing. I'm just talking.
I think you should leave the shade up to me.
I wasn't trying to throw shade, though, so it doesn't really count. I don't have many other surprises outside of the Falcons and losing an owner in week 3. I thought that was a big surprise.
Losing is an interesting word there. It's like they didn't really lose an owner. I think they gained an owner, an actual owner that will finish the year.
He had a good
season cycle.
He had a decent season too. I think he was 6-7. Ace was something like that.
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he's going to compete.
But that's looking forward. Looking back, let's look to now. As I die over here slowly.
What are we looking to now? The playoffs? Or
are you paying attention at all? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing right now.
Damn playoffs. Okay, so we know who. Last night we tried doing this podcast and we didn't know really all the matchups quite yet, but now we know it's going to be the Jaguars and Jets, the Cardinals, Bears, Broncos, Bengals, Panthers, and the Giants. So let's go ahead and start with the AFC. And I believe a game's about to start. So let's start with that one first. The Broncos, Bengals. They should be starting any minute. Who do you have in that game?
I think that's probably one of the closer games, I think. And I generally would probably take the Broncos, but I'm not going to, even though it pains me to think of the Bengals actually winning a playoff game. I don't even know if the game will allow that to happen. You know what? I'm going to take the Broncos just because I think Madden has it built in that the Bengals aren't allowed to win a playoff game.
Well, I can see that because, Madden is weird and it does have weird things coded, it seems like sometimes. Yeah. So I have the Broncos beating the Bengals, but it's a coin flip game. I don't think it's going to be. I think if it's a blowout, it could be a blowout either way. I think it'll be a close game. I really could see the Bengals winning this game. I did pick the Broncos in the little playoff prediction thing, but I don't know enough about either user. I don't watch autoplay because we don't play in the same division, same conference. I didn't play him this season. I did play the Bengals, and he kind of beat the brakes off of me. But
well, that's because you suck.
Right. So, but I'm still gonna go with the Broncos here. I think he's gonna take care of business here on the road.
Well, that would leave Jets and Jags. Who do you think will take that defensive matchup?
I think that's an interesting matchup. I think I would have preferred to see the Jags Broncos, but I guess that couldn't happen because they were the wild cards. The Jets, the Jets Jaguars could be interesting. I can see the Jaguars winning this game because RKO is going to be throwing the ball, and that's a tough defense to throw on. I still think it's going to be another close game. I think it's another coin flip game because it really could be. It could be a blowout for. It could be a blowout for the Jets, and it could be a close win for the Jags. I'm leaning more toward close win for the Jags. So I'm gonna go with the Jaguars in that game.
It's a game where if RKO can possibly hold Leonard Fournette to maybe 175 yards instead of 375 yards, and make Wakanda throw the ball at all ever, maybe he could pick it off and get some pick sixes maybe and keep himself ahead. I think the key for RKO will be being ahead in score so that the Jags can't just run the ball with their only one running back system ever.
I think that's a really good point. I think the key to that game for RKO is getting an early lead. If he gets a good 2-score lead early, that really plays in his favor because the Jaguars, I know Wakanda likes to throw the ball a lot. That's not the team to throw the ball, though. He knows Bortles sucks. He doesn't have great wide receivers, not a great tight end. That's not a team that you want to play from behind. So if RKO can get an early lead, but at the same time, he could fall behind early because he could throw some interceptions early on with those cornerbacks the Jaguars have.
But I think he's good enough that he could come back. I still think it'll be a close game, but I will probably lean towards the better team in Madden as I usually do, and that would be the Jags.
I agree. So the next game that's going to be played tonight, it looks looking like is the Cardinals Bears in the NFC. Who you got here?
I'm going to take the Bears because I think, again, it's a better team. And Felgar, while props on making the playoffs on a team that I didn't think it was possible to make the playoffs on season 1, but he's had some not so great finishes of games recently. I think he got blown out a couple times recently.
He got blown out in week 17 by the Seahawks.
And Isaiah and his NCAA football offense and his wheel routes to Tariq Cohen will probably be able to put some points on the board. So I'm going to probably stick with the Bears.
Same. I'm going with the Bears there. I haven't watched Sir Felgar play at all, and so I don't know much about him. I know the finish in the playoffs in the NFC it's a hell of a feat, but his team I don't believe is as good as the Bears, and I think you're right. I think the Bears is going to put up too many points for the Cardinals to keep up here.
Moving on to the game of the week, obviously, with one of the best teams in the league, and that's obviously me. The Giants and the Panthers. The winner of this game gets to play you. So who do you think that's going to be?
Oh, it sucks. Like, I don't want to play either one because the Panthers, we've played twice in the last 3 weeks. So I have to play them for a third time in 4 weeks. That's not fun for anybody. And then also, I don't want to play you because I feel like I have to score more points to beat you than I would the Panthers. But we can't go for what I want. What I think is going to happen is I think the Panthers are going to win this game. I think Zekar is going to pick you off a few too many times for you to keep up, especially without Barkley. I think you're going to struggle to move the ball a little bit, and I think he's going to end up winning this game like 24-13 or something like that.
The fact that you give me 13 points gives me hope because I don't even know if I'll be able to score that much with the cheat code that is Luke Kuechly on that defense, because running the ball against the Panthers is not fun. It wasn't fun last time I tried to do it. Probably less fun this time because playoffs and stuff. And it'll probably be a snow game, and I won't be able to even see his team. Those are always fun. But, yeah.
Well, you're the home team. You just wear white jerseys, make him wear his blue.
Then I can't see my people. I'm going to wear red. I'm going to make him wear black. I'm going to wear red. That's it. That's what we're doing. Deal. I don't know if that's cheating or not. But
kind of is.
I think it can be it was a close game last time, and I had a pick 6 or 2 in that game early when I was throwing interceptions back in the day like I usually do. And I should have won that game, hypothetically, as I should have won a few more than I did, as I do every year.
No, I agree. I watched that game. I thought you outplayed Zekar in that game for the most part.
But I think he has a better team overall, and if I can keep with my consistent nature of picking the better team in Madden in close games, then I would have to pick the Panthers, even though I obviously picked myself in that whole thing we're doing, whatever, over there. But yeah, that's who I got.
So you want to go ahead and pick the next round since we already know since now we know who's going to win the first round matchups.
I don't even know why we play the games. They should just go based off our predictions. And if
I agree.
Because they're always right. But next round, adding to the teams we just picked, which I'm going to underline on a little piece of paper so I can actually keep track of what I'm doing.
So we picked the same 4 teams to win here, right?
Basically. Which means in the AFC, Kansas City facing against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans playing the Denver Broncos. Who would you have in those 2 matchups?
Well, okay. Well, so the Texans play the Broncos. It's going to be the Texans. I know they have some weird rivalry thing going on, but I don't see the Broncos beating the Texans. And then in the other game, obviously I don't have much to say about the Broncos-Texans game. I just think the Texans are going to win because RFF is having a great season. The Chiefs-Jaguars, I think it's Chiefs again. I think the Chiefs are going to put up too many points for the Jaguars to keep up. And it's going to be probably not a real high-scoring game, but it'll be.
As it relates to RFF versus Auto, depending on when this game is scheduled for, relates to who would win. If they play at a reasonable time, RFF will dominate. If they have to play at 11, 12 o'clock in the night, like Auto likes to schedule his playoff games when people are tired, Auto might have a chance in that game. I don't know. I probably will stick with RFF as my pick because he's playing at a higher level overall. In what I would define as Cheese Bowl 2018, Kansas City versus Jacksonville, I'm going to pick the Jags and that defense to actually shut down that Kansas City offense.
Really?
Because that's just kind of what I hope happens. Because fuck that offense.
So you're picking the Jags on hope, not on what you think is going to happen.
Basically. I think it could happen. I mean, I'm not saying I hope it
could. Doesn't mean it will.
I mean, I could go 16-0. I definitely won't, but
exactly. No, but I don't think you're far off with that pick, though. I do think the Jags have a chance. As I have seen the Chiefs not put up a whole lot of points, he could struggle. I I don't know. I think playing the odds, the way the Chiefs offense was ranked top 5, I think, and their defense is ranked top 3 or something crazy like that. That's a bad matchup for the Jaguars. That playing a high-powered offense with a team that's not built to play a high-powered offense, at least a team's offense at least. It's a bad matchup, I think, for the Jaguars.
Moving over to the better conference, you would have yourself in the New Orleans Saints against the Carolina Panthers again, and the Seattle Seahawks against thy Chicago Bears. I'm going to go first because
Good.
I want to. And as it relates to you versus Zcar, I think you'd win again. No offense to Zcar. But I just think your offense is going to beat his offense. Seattle, Chicago, I'm probably going to go with the Bears on that one just because I think maybe for once, having a good defensive player on your defensive line would matter against a terrible offensive line. Who knows? That's my hope.
You picked the Bears?
Yep.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go against the grain there. I'm going to take the Seahawks in that game. I think the Seattle's defense will be good enough, and Saren's usering in the middle of the field with Griffin is going to be deadly, and I think it's going to shut down the Bears' offense, and I think he outscores them.
You say shut down? You said shut down. Are you speaking a hyperbole over here? Hyperbole? Whatever you want to call it? Or are you saying actually shut down?
A little hyperbole, but also I think he's going to shut them down. I think that I don't know. I mean, the rough thing, the tough thing about playing the Bears is how well he spreads the ball out. So he doesn't need to throw at your user for the most part. But I just feel like there's going to be a few user picks in there by Saren, and that's gonna it's gonna be enough for him to win that game. And I don't think it's going to be as close as some of the first round games are.
Ooh, interesting.
And my game with the Panthers, I'm going to pick myself. It's going to be tough to beat them a third time. I had told you about this before, but the fact that he's basically seen all of my offensive plays because I throw the ball pretty often, he's going to know what to look for after playing me, 3 times in 4 weeks. Whereas on his side of the ball, I have the same advantage, but he runs the ball, so it's not like it's either I'm stopping him or I'm not stopping him. It's kind of hard to say. Well, I know he's running a halfback dive, but can you stop it? He likes to punch you in the mouth and run the ball. So it'll be interesting. But I feel like I have the better team, and I can score more points than the Panthers' offense. His offense is struggling right now. I feel like I can just outscore him and win that game.
All right, I'm okay with that. Even though it sounds kind of like you just, I have no words right now. I'm so tired. Leave me alone. All right, so we've got our conference championship matchups. In the AFC, you'd have Kansas City versus Houston, while I would have Jacksonville versus Houston. And you would play then the Seahawks, while I hypothetically have you playing the Bears. In your picks, who do you have making thine Super Bowl?
So I think the Chiefs are going to end up beating the Texans. I think the Chiefs' defense is good enough, and the offense is going to be more than enough. I think they pull it off. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be something silly like 35-31 or 34-31, something like that. I think it's, even though they have 2 good defensive teams, well, the Chiefs are. The Texans, they make it work. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. The Chiefs win. And in the NFC, I have myself playing the Seahawks. I think I'm going to beat the Seahawks. I think, again, I'm going to outscore the Seahawks. My run defense has been pretty good this season, and that's really the strength of his play style is running the ball. And I can again score enough and not allow him to score. I won't need to score as much this game as I have in the past. I can see that one being a I don't know, 25 14 type game, or maybe
So
20.
What 22. I hear You've come from the guy who was 7-0 and wouldn't shut up about how shitty he was playing to a guy who just picked himself to make the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm not just picking myself to make the Super Bowl.
Oh, God. We're not there yet. Chill out. Let me do my picks first. As it relates to my picks, Houston versus Jacksonville again. I am, again, thinking that Houston will beat Jacksonville, assuming Jacksonville shows up to play again, which they didn't last time, which was fun to wait 3 days for a game that didn't get played. Anyways, so I would have Houston on the AFC side going up against you because I think, like you just said, you could be able to stop the run with your defense. And if it gets into a game of passing, you're going to win that over the Seahawks.
I can't disagree with that.
So, Super Bowl matchups. You would have Kansas City versus yourself. And I have Houston versus yourself. I'm just going to say that I don't think you're going to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I like the confidence. I will say, if my matchup makes it, I don't win the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs beat the Saints. If your matchup is there, the Saints and Jaguars, I beat the Jaguars in Super Bowl.
No. I didn't pick the Jaguars to make Super Bowl. I picked the Texans.
I thought you did.
No.
Okay, well, you picked the Texans.
You think you can beat RFF? Ooh, put it down on paper.
Yes, I'm going to say yes.
Are you just saying that to feel confident about yourself, or do you actually, like, if you had to pick that game separately from it being you?
If I had to pick that game, looking at the numbers, I would pick the Saints to win both those games. Well, maybe not the Chiefs game. I think the Chiefs have too many weapons, but yeah, because I think Lattimore can lock down, not lock down completely, but can really hamper Hopkins.
That would be a good matchup. I would like to watch it.
Yeah, I think I could beat RFF. I did beat him in the test league, even though he was testing things out. But we played once, and I won that game.
I mean, none of this actually matters because the actual Super Bowl matchup is going to be Giants versus Bengals.
That's interesting because the Bengals are losing 5-0 right now.
How the fuck are they losing 5-0?
Because they're playing baseball, apparently. They think it's the fucking MLB playoffs.
Jesus. Go Reds. Ew, that sounded gross. Don't say that.
It's disgusting.
All right, so we've went through and we've picked our potential hypotheticals of Super Bowl champions. And now I would like to bring back a brief instance of my favorite segment, which is called Things That Make Me Go, What?
Well, it can't be what. You told me this yesterday. It's W-U-T. There's no H. So you can't be what.
No, it's not. It's not an H. It's more of a what?
Okay.
What? Kind of like cool whip, but without an H. Anyways, I'm going to throw out some numbers at you, okay?
All right.
25, 22, and 18.
25, 22, 18. Okay.
Those are the amount of sacks that the Los Angeles Chargers players have. The top 3 sack leaders on their team. He has 3 players with more than 18 sacks at least.
That's just silly.
I got more numbers for you. How about the number 4? That's how many games he won with those 3 players getting that many sacks.
So how is that possible? I mean,
would you like another number?
I would.
88.
88. What's 88? Is that how many times he sacked the opponent?
No, that's how many times he got sacked.
Oh, he got sacked 88 times. So what does that average out to? 88. That's going to be more than a few times a game, right?
Yes, more than a few times a game.
That's 5.5. That's 5.5 sacks a game.
And I didn't look up, but I'm going to say like 47 is the amount of interceptions he threw, something like that.
It was 47 before week 17. He had 47. I remember looking at it, and it was 47 in week 16.
No offense to Shuck, but holy shit, man, what are you doing? How do you get this many sacks on defense and only win 4 games?
Dude, run the ball. Just run, punt.
For comparison, I won 8 games and probably should have won more. My leading sack getter had 10. And that was Vernon, and most of those were coverage sacks.
Mine had 15 with Cam Jordan, and he had like 14 in week 8.
You have anything in the league that makes you go, what?
Well, the 47 interceptions did for sure. I think somebody actually broke.
No, nobody broke 50. I actually looked.
Oh, no. I think somebody broke 50 as a team.
Oh.
I think it was a team effort, and they pulled it off.
Oh, God.
I gotta figure out who it was.
I think Mariota had 49.
Mariota. It might have been them. Falcons had 46 total. Let me go to the Titans real quick.
If y'all would just like not throw interceptions.
It was the Titans. 51 interceptions total.
Oh, God.
49 with Mariota and 2 with Gabbard.
I know talking about not throwing interceptions coming from me seems a little hypocritical.
It doesn't, because you were the second lowest in the league in terms of interceptions.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You had the second least amount of interceptions in the league.
That doesn't seem realistic. That's very unsim. I should work on that.
You should definitely throw more interceptions because you're cheating.
I'm sorry that I'm just so good that I don't throw interceptions.
And I find it hard to believe, even as I'm saying it, and I know I saw it. Yeah, you threw 23 interceptions.
I had like 12 through the first like 3 weeks.
That's not right. You can't be second with 23 interceptions.
Oh my God, that would be
there's no way.
I'm telling y'all, run, punt. Skip that third down. Just punt it on third down. And when I say that, I do actually refer to long arm punts. Deep pass punts are my favorite kind of pass on third down and long.
Deep pass punts?
Yeah, if it's third and like 10 or 15, chuck it deep. And then it's probably better than an actual punt, unless you're fucking able to get it out of bounds, because then they return it like 20 yards because punt coverage is terrible.
This is unbelievable, dude. You are second.
Who's in first?
I believe it's the Chiefs.
Of course it is.
I'm looking at like the Bears, Trubisky has 22, but Bradford has 11. So he still has 33. It just kind of skewed the stats there. I'm going through every single team one by one. And yeah, the Browns. Mayfield had 19, but Tyrod Taylor had 15. Winston had 32 by himself. Yeah, dude, you're second.
I don't even know what to do with that information.
Chiefs had 14 total. He's the only one that's not in the 20s in interceptions.
So I should go and stand by the outside marker more often, and I will throw less interceptions?
But I will say Breeze had single digits, and he started every game except week 17. So that's got to count for something, right?
Yeah, but how many touchdowns did Drew Brees throw? Like 10?
16? 18. He had 18. 18 TDs, 19 interceptions.
Garbage.
Well, apparently, because he dropped down to quick development.
Oh, that piece of shit.
Now I can't develop Drew Brees into a superstar like I wanted to.
Son of a bitch.
At 40 years old. So they don't age yet, right? I thought they aged when the playoffs hit.
I brought that up in the chat because it still says Saquon Barkley is 21 years old. And I swear it used to be once he hit the playoffs, everybody aged a year.
It was. But I'm wondering if that's a playoff thing, if it's not until after you play your last game. You know what I mean?
No, I don't actually know. But I'm just wondering if they moved it until like maybe the re-sign stage, which would actually make sense because now I could still develop. You can still develop during the playoffs at the same rate that you were pre-playoffs, which I would be a fan of.
That's true. Develop throughout the playoffs. Also, it's kind of not fair that your guy would regress at the end of the season. It should be when the season's over, you can regress. But even think about it in the years past, if this is even how it worked. But if you made the playoffs and let's say you had Drew Brees at 39, he turned 40 and he would regress. Would he regress before your first playoff game? That wouldn't really be fair, would it?
No, I don't actually know, which obviously means we're off base.
I think we're pretty close. I don't think we're far off.
All
Base.
your base are belong to us.
So Denver's up 11-0 now. Your Bengals pick isn't looking very good.
I picked the Broncos hypothetically.
I could have sworn you picked the Bengals. You did pick.
No, because I said that the Madden thingy and the coding and the stuff.
You did.
See, all my picks are always right, no matter what.
So
if you pick both teams, you're never wrong. That's how I go about it.
It's a good way to go about it there.
Just trying to figure out a way to Vegas to let me do that. But
is there anything else you wanted to talk about here?
I don't know and/or care.
So the only thing that made you say what was the Chargers.
I mean, basically,
with
I can't really think of anything else. Can you?
Amount of sacks. No, I really can't.
Besides, the ridiculous amount of interceptions in this league, and the fact that there's only one corner who can get good amounts of interceptions. Besides, that isn't a linebacker.
Well, there's two that get interceptions. Lattimore had almost 10, I think.
That does almost 10.
But he had 9 midway through the season, and then he just stopped getting interceptions because him and the guy from the Packers were tied for a while, and then the Packers just took off and. That seems to
be a theme with a lot of things because a lot of people were very high about halfway through the season, and then just kind of tapered off. Because I know Jair Alexander, the guy from the Packers, had seemingly, I think, 12 interceptions about halfway through the season and only finished with 14.
Mm-hmm. Same thing happened like I was talking about with Cam Jordan. I had 14 sacks midway through the season, and then he had a half sack the rest of the season.
I remember about, I'd say, a little less than halfway through the season, my rookie linebacker Lorenzo Carter had, I think it was 3 interceptions and 4 sacks, and he finished with the same thing. He just stopped producing.
I wonder if that's variance or if that's just luck.
I don't know.
Getting unlucky there.
I have no luck.
I don't with this damn development thing. Michael Thomas goes down, Breeze goes down, which Breeze doesn't really matter. And honestly, I don't think Thomas really matters either because he's going to be 26 after the season. So not like he's going to develop much more, but I don't know. I had no guys go up, only had guys go down.
I think there are instances where complaining about it matters. I think it's a little skewed because it goes up and down every season now. It's not as set as it was in years past. As long as you're not one of those dudes on Reddit who's if I complain that Odell Beckham Jr., who's a 95 overall, went down in development because he did, it doesn't fucking matter. He's a 95 overall. He's still good. He didn't regress. He's still as good as he is.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Going down in development isn't really regressing. Regress would be if you actually got worse. But going down in development doesn't make you worse. It just don't get as good as fast. It's not quite the same thing. I don't know. I like the system for the most part. At the same time, I don't because it didn't help me at all this season. If it would have helped me, if I was the Chiefs and all my guys went to star, then I would probably love it.
I think it's good in some areas and not so great in others. It takes forever to get a point for a linebacker.
Yeah,
literally forever. Yeah, quarterbacks are the same way.
I'm a little worried about drafting linebackers and quarterbacks because for that reason that it's going to take a long time for those guys to develop, and I don't.
Even if you focus, you have a superstar development in scheme, 21-year-old linebacker, he still needs 10,000 XP to get 1 point.
Is that really what it is? Is something silly like
it's
that?
Around that. Carter, I think it was 8,000-9,000 to start out.
Oh, wow.
And that's still you get a couple points, but if he's not already good, then by the time the first season's over, he's just now pretty okay. But I will say I would rather it be less than too much as it relates to development. I don't want everybody to have 99 overall rosters. That's boring and dumb. I'm just bitching that my players aren't getting good.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm more. If my players got better, then I'd love it, but they didn't. So at least we're aware of that fact, though. That we know why. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hate it. I wish I had more. I wish it wasn't so based on stats, and not that it's based. It's
If
I
it's
guess
not based on
it's
stats, what's it going to be based on though?
it's based on relative stats. Like it's relative to the league, I guess, because you could be as long as you're the least shitty guy. I think we had talked about this on one of the previous podcasts.
Yeah.
If you're the least shitty of the shitty quarterbacks, you end up being a superstar.
Yeah, but I think with the way we've seen it
Superstar
go
dev, at least.
since all this awards and everything have been given out today, that whole chart that we saw isn't super accurate.
It's not, and I'm glad that it's not. I didn't want it to be accurate. I thought that was too cut and dry, and it really wasn't. It's not fair. I don't think the chart. When I say not fair, I mean a guy getting hurt shouldn't guarantee him to go down in development for the next season.
And it didn't.
Right, it didn't.
Barkley. Oh yeah, Darius Juice. That one surprised me.
Right, he stayed star. That's really surprising.
But Barkley only played in 14 games. He finished 5th in yards and 5th in touchdowns, and he stayed at superstar development. He's only one of 2 superstar development running backs right now, the other one being Fournette.
And Kamara, he was hurt for 6 games, finished 2nd in touchdowns, 19 in yards, and he kept his star development.
So who fucking knows, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's better that we don't know.
Yeah, because it should be random for the most part. It shouldn't be if you do this, then you get this all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we're rambling, though.
Yeah, we are. Just trying to make it last a little bit longer, I guess. So we made all our picks. You didn't happen to write down or take pictures of all the draft, the scouting, whatever.
What?
The players in the draft.
Why the fuck would I do that?
For a mock draft. I was hoping to do a mock draft, and I guess we'll have time. It just sucks doing it in free agency. I was hoping to do a pre-draft show.
I mean, I guess I could do that. That seems like a lot of work, though.
Well, it's too late now because we can't see the draft picks or who's available.
We can see them during the Super Bowl week.
Can you?
Yeah, they're scouting during the Super Bowl. Are you new?
I don't think they're scouting during the Super Bowl.
How much you want to bet?
I'm not betting anything, but I didn't know that.
How did you not know? How long have you been playing? You ran your own league and you don't know things that are...
That's not always been a thing.
I need a cigarette.
There's always been scouting during the Super Bowl. You sure about that?
Yes.
I think you're making this up.
Oh, dear God.
All right, you will get a cigarette. We're going to call this a show. And we'll be back for the next one's going to be the pre-draft, and we'll each do a mock draft, or at least a top 10, maybe a top 10 and maybe just a top 10. I don't know. I was thinking top 10 and bottom 10. That would be stupid for a draft. All right, Mike. I hope you feel better.
Go fuck yourself.
That's very, very nice of you to say. And, you guys have a great week and good luck in the playoffs and the off season.